Hey guys, today I thought I would sit down and chat with you about the 10 best products from Sephora collection. This is a brand that doesn't get a ton of recognition here on YouTube, but I do think they have some amazing products. And the Sephora spring sale is coming up next week, and Sephora collection is going to be 30% off, which is honestly the best deal of the sale. So I thought this would be a great time just to let you know what some of my favorites are and what's actually worth buying. And if you're new here, I do focus on drugstore and more affordable makeup here on my channel, although I do talk about high-end sometimes. And I'm also a completely unsponsored channel, so you won't see any of that type of content here. So if that sounds good, I hope you'll consider hitting the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the first product. These are in no particular order. So the first one is the Best Skin Ever foundation. I love this foundation so much. I feel like this is one of the very few products from Sephora collection that actually has gotten a little bit of hype. I know a lot of people really enjoy this one. So this does retail for $20. During the sale, it's going to be $14, and it has 4.3 out of 5 stars on the Sephora website. It claims to be a medium coverage foundation that hydrates the skin for 12 hours, and it also has skincare benefits. It contains hyaluronic acid and also red and brown algae for antioxidant protection. I got the shade 13P, and this one is a little bit too yellow for me, even though the P stands for pink. I had intended to purchase 11.5P, which is the shade that I had before, and then when I repurchased this foundation, I ended up getting 13 by mistake. I personally wouldn't call this one medium coverage either. I'd say it's probably more of a light coverage. It does even out my skin tone and it minimizes redness, but it doesn't cover up my dark spots completely. Still, I do love it as an everyday foundation. I think it just looks very fresh and very natural on your skin, almost like you're not wearing anything at all. It also dries down all the way, and it doesn't remain sticky or tacky. It just has a soft kind of satin to matte finish that doesn't look dry, and it also doesn't look glowy either. It just looks somewhere in between, very skin-like, which I really love. And even up close, I find that it doesn't sink into pores or fine lines. It just looks very smooth and even overall. So as I've said before, I have repurchased this one already because I really do enjoy it. I think it's one of the best just everyday foundations. And if I do want some more coverage in other areas, I can always just spot conceal as needed, which is normally what I do when I use this. So overall, I think this one is a great buy, definitely worth checking out, especially at $14, because at that point, it's cheaper than some drugstore foundations. And then just to piggyback on the Best Skin Ever foundation, we have the Best Skin Ever concealer. So I also really enjoy this formula a lot. This retails for $15. It's going to come down to $10.50 during the sale. And this also has 4.3 out of 5 stars on the Sephora website. This one claims to be a full coverage formula. And just like the foundation, it comes in a really nice glass bottle. It contains hyaluronic acid and those algae extracts. And I do have the shade 11.5P, which is for lighter skin tones with a pink undertone. I do think this is a really good color for me. So when I do repurchase the foundation at some point, I'm definitely going to get this shade as well. Again, I wouldn't call this one a full coverage formula. It's probably closer to medium, but I'm okay with that because I really don't need full coverage on an everyday basis. This also just does everything that I want a concealer to do. It looks very natural on my dry skin. I just usually apply a few dots like at the outer corner and inner corners of my eyes where I have the most darkness, and then just blend it out. And I think it does a great job at brightening my eye area and also just hiding the little bit of darkness that I have. If you look at one eye with the concealer versus without, I definitely do notice a big difference. Plus, it sits so beautifully on my skin. It doesn't sink into fine lines. It doesn't look cakey at all. Even close up, it doesn't look like I'm wearing concealer. It's really undetectable, which is awesome. And I find that it doesn't crease on me, but I have dry skin. So if you're more combo to oily, you may feel like you need to set this with a powder. I personally don't set it because I find that it dries down completely and kind of self-sets on my skin. But overall, I just think this is an awesome concealer at $15, but at $10.50 even more so. Again, you can't really get a lot of drugstore concealers for that these days. So I think this is amazing. By the way, I forgot to mention that this is made in France, and so is the foundation. Next up, I wanted to talk about their bronzed bronzer. So I held off on getting this for quite a while because I wanted it initially, and then I was reading all these reviews on the Sephora website that said that this smells like fish. And that really kind of put me off from buying it a little bit, but I initially wanted the shade Sicily, which is the lightest shade. But when I saw the bronzers in store, I realized that Sicily was a little bit too light, so I ended up going up to the next shade, which is Majorca. And this one is, it says it's for light skin tones, and this has no fishy odor whatsoever. I didn't notice anything, and I have a pretty sensitive nose. Like, no, it literally smells like nothing. And then when I went back on the Sephora website, I was looking at the reviews, and I noticed that every single review that mentions the fishy smell got the lightest shade, Sicily. And anyone who has this shade or any of the deeper shades didn't mention anything, and everybody loves it and gives it 5 stars. So it might be an issue just with that lightest shade because it was literally every single one. So I just wanted to put that out there, but let's go ahead and take a closer look at the bronzer. So this normally retails for $18, but it's going to be $12.60 during the sale. And it has 4.4 out of 5 stars, even with those few negative reviews about the fishy odor. It claims to be a creamy bronzer with a soft matte finish, and it really does have this very velvety kind of creamy feel, and it just blends out like a dream. It's one of the most blendable bronzers I've ever tried, honestly. Some bronzers, I feel like they can look a little patchy or muddy. This one blends out with almost no effort. It seems so finely milled, and I also really love this color. It's more on the cool tone side, so it doesn't make me look orange. It's like a very soft brown. And it's also not too dark or too light for my skin tone, so I definitely am glad that I went with this shade instead of the lightest one, because I just feel like that one might not have shown up as well on me. It's honestly, like I said, it's one of the best bronzers that I've tried recently. It's so flawless and so blendable, and it really shows up on my skin well without being too much or too dark. It's really the perfect color, so I'm very happy that I ended up buying this because I wasn't going to because of the reviews, but lately I've just been using this every single day. I love the color, I love the formula, everything about it. I would just say if you do need the lightest shade, just be aware that those comments are out there about the fishy smell, but I think if you need any of the other shades, you would be totally fine, and it's definitely worth trying. Oh, and I also wanted to mention that this is made in the United States. Next up, we have this blush trio. It's actually a blush and 2 highlighters, and this is so gorgeous. I'm so happy that I got it. It normally costs $15. It's going to be $10.50 during the sale, and it has 4.3 out of 5 stars on the Sephora website. It comes in 4 different variations for different skin tones. I actually have Gleam, which is described as a soft and icy pink combo. It has one matte blush, and then it has like a soft highlighter and then a more bold gleaming highlighter. And the shades in this palette are just perfect for my fair to light skin tone. The powders are so soft and smooth and almost kind of creamy for a powder formula. And the blush is also insanely pigmented. There are a couple of reviews saying that it isn't, but I didn't even feel like I needed to build this up on me. Just kind of one coat showed up really easily, but yet it also blended out very nicely on my skin. The softer highlighter is also beautiful. It's honestly just my speed. It kind of shows up, but it's not too bold or too glittery either. It's just very, very smooth and pretty. There's no chunkiness and no fallout. And then the bolder highlighter is honestly just like, wow, it's super shiny and it really, really pops on your cheeks. So I don't see myself wearing this one quite as much as the more subtle one, especially for every day, but I can also use it on my eyes, either as an eyeshadow or an inner corner highlight. So it's honestly just gorgeous for that. And I like this palette so much, I might actually go and pick up one of the warmer shades. They have a peachy one that looks really, really pretty. And I'm actually wearing this palette in today's video. I'm wearing the blush and then also the more subtle highlight. And I just love this color. It's like the perfect pop of pink. So I think this one is definitely worth checking out as well. Moving on, we have the Jumbo eyeshadow crayons. And this is definitely a product that I think I'm gonna buy more of during the sale because I enjoy these 2 that I have so much. These regularly cost $14 each. They're gonna be $9.80 during the sale, and they have 4.2 out of 5 stars on the Sephora website. And I just love eyeshadow crayons for one and done looks. These are such a great formula. I use them just as much as my Laura Mercier crayons, honestly, and they're very creamy and super easy to apply, despite some reviews saying they felt dry. That hasn't been my experience at all. I feel like these are some of the creamiest eyeshadow crayons I've tried. side. The two shades that I have are gorgeous. Rose Gold is really brightening on the eyes, and it has a little bit of micro glitter in the formula, so it really pops. And then Taupe has more of like a satiny finish with a little bit of glow, but it's not super bold or intense. It's just perfect when you want a little bit more of a subtle shadow. I like to just draw these on directly from the tube, from the lash line up to the crease. And then usually I'll just take an eyeshadow blending brush and brush along the crease just to diffuse any harsh edges. And as long as you do this before it dries down, it works out beautifully. These do give you a couple minutes to kind of work with them so they don't dry down immediately. And once they do set, they don't budge or crease all day on me. And you can also use these as eyeliners as well. And I love doing that. I actually used the Taupe one on my bottom lash line today, and I just feel like they don't look quite as harsh as a pencil liner would, something that's a little bit more skinny. Just gives like a sharper looking line, and these give a little bit more of like a soft and smudgy kind of line. So for my eye look today, I just used the Taupe one and I just blended it right from like the crease to the lash line. And then I just took a brush like I did in the little demo and just blended it out. And then I used Rose Gold from the inner corner just to like the middle, just to kind of brighten up my lid a little bit. And I also wanted to mention that there are some negative reviews on the Sephora website of these that I think are dragging it down unnecessarily, because people are saying you can't sharpen them, that they have no product because once they got down past the tip, they didn't think that you could sharpen it because this is like a plastic tube, but you absolutely can. I've actually sharpened this one before. You just need a jumbo pencil sharpener like this one. The larger side will fit these pencils no problem. And even though there's like a plasticky coating around this, it still sharpens just fine. So I just wanted to mention that in case you see any of the reviews mentioning that you can't sharpen these, because you absolutely can. Honestly, if it weren't for those negative reviews, I think these would have closer to 5 stars. They're just so user-friendly and they last so long on your eyes as well. I get great wear out of them. And I also wanted to mention these are made in France. So I'm definitely going to be picking up more colors of these during the sale. I think they're awesome. Next up are the Sephora Retractable Eyeliners. These are a waterproof formula. And initially I wasn't really looking for these, but I did see them in store at one point and I swatched one. I swatched this olive green one actually, because the color just spoke to me and it was so incredibly creamy. I ended up getting this one and the plum shade, and I really love this formula. So let's take a closer look. These retail for $13 each. During the sale, they're going to be $9.10. And they do have a 4.2 out of 5 star rating. Like I said, I bought these after testing them in store and just seeing how creamy and pigmented they were. I just love an eyeliner that doesn't tug at your eyes, but it also stays in place and doesn't smudge. And this one really does both for me, and I've fallen in love with this formula. They come with a twist-up style format with the pencil on one side, and on the other side, they give you a sponge-tipped smudger, which I think is so cool, and I definitely use that on my lower lash line all the time. And then behind the sponge tip is also a sharpener, so you can sharpen these up and keep the point for precision. The olive green and plum shades that I have are so gorgeous, and I love that they add a little bit of color without being too bright or bold. They're almost like neutrals for me, and they also claim to be waterproof. I can definitely say that they're very long lasting, but I've only been using them since the fall, and the climate here in New England's been very dry and cold since that time, so I have yet to put these through actual humid weather, but the reviews I've read seem to be very, very positive on these. So are they as good as like the Kokie eyeliners that I love or the LA Girl Shockwave ones? I would say these are right up there. They're basically the same thing for me, but the Kokie and the LA Girl ones are a few dollars cheaper even with the 30% off. So these are a little bit more expensive, but I would say they're worth it if you find specific colors in this line that you can't find in the others. For example, this olive green right here is just one of my go-tos. I love it so much. So I think they're definitely worth getting if there's a color that speaks to you. Also, I wanted to mention these single shadows. I don't hear a lot of people talking about them, but I've had a really good experience with these. So these are regularly $10. They're going to be $7 each during the sale, and they have 3.7 out of 5 stars. Some of the comments are saying that they're not pigmented. I only have 2 of the metallic shades, so I can't speak for the mattes or the regular shimmers, but these are incredibly pigmented and shiny. So I'm not quite sure what they're talking about. They must be talking about a different finish, but they have a marbled appearance and they pick up very easily with a finger. I think they swatch beautifully and they have this really gorgeous metallic finish on the eyes. The 2 shades that I have, First Light and Fantastic, Fantasia are just like the perfect one and done shadows. And if you have textured eyelids, these might enhance that a little bit. So I just wanted to mention that. But if you love like a really foiled appearance, I think you will love these. They also do have little micro glitters in them. So it's helpful to apply them over a sticky base like the NYX glitter primer to avoid some fallout. But they're very smooth. They're not chunky at all. I think sometimes a little bit of glitter can still make its way under your eyes. So that's just a little tip I have for these. But like I said before, I haven't tried the matte or the shimmer versions of these. So it's possible that some of those more negative reviews are about those formulas, but I can highly recommend the metallic ones. I also wanted to mention that the packaging not only opens on the top like this, but you can also open it up on the bottom and just pop out the pan by itself. So if you don't want to have all of these single shadows, you can just go ahead and pop this right into a magnetic palette. So I love that they also let you just pop these pans right out super easily. So that's just an extra bonus with these as well. I think they're really, really cute. And also they're made in France. Moving on, let's talk about a few lip products. The first one that I have are these satin lipsticks. I think these are more of a newer formula for them, but I was so excited to try these because I love a satin lipstick formula. So these retail for $15. Normally they're going to be $10.50 during the sale, and these have 4.8 out of 5 stars. They come in these really sleek black tubes, and they remind me so much of the NARS Audacious lipsticks and the new e.l.f. satin lipsticks that are dupes for the NARS. They also have very similar claims, including a creamy feel, one swipe coverage, and a really satin finish that's not matte or shiny. It's kind of somewhere in between. So I got 2 shades. Number 1, Never Ending, which is a beigey pink, and then number 3, Big Hit, which is described as a nude shade. I would definitely agree with all the claims, and I would even go one step further to say that these are some of the creamiest lipsticks in my collection right now. I think they're even creamier than the NARS or the e.l.f. They feel so soft on your lips with just like a little bit of a dewy glow that keeps your lips from looking dry, and they feel so smooth and really lightweight. You hardly even notice that they're there. They really don't have any kind of scent to them. I think what I'm smelling is just like the scent of the ingredients that are in there. It's just kind of like maybe a waxy or lipsticky kind of smell, but it's really, really faint. And I definitely don't notice it when it's actually on my lips, only like if I put my nose right up to the tube. And these are not transfer proof. They are going to come off if you're eating or drinking a little bit, but they're so pigmented that the color tends to kind of stick around for a while, even though it's wearing off in light layers kind of as you go. So I do think the longevity is pretty good. It's definitely longer lasting than like a lip gloss or a lip balm, but also not quite as long lasting as like a matte lipstick. So if you like a really lightweight satiny lipstick formula that is just super creamy and hydrating, I think you will really, really love these. I think, again, definitely worth trying them. I've also really been enjoying the glossed lip glosses. I only have 2 shades at the moment, but I'm thinking about maybe picking up a couple of more during the sale. These are normally $12. They're going to be $8.40 during the 30% off, and these get a 4.4 out of 5 stars. They have clear packaging that feels really heavy and kind of high end. I was pretty impressed by it because they kind of look like they would be cheap, but they just feel really nice in your hand. The applicator is a little bit on the smaller side, so you might have to dip back into the tube to keep getting more gloss, but it's also more precise than a larger wand, so you're not going to go outside of your lip line very easily. So I think that's really nice as well. And these have a non-sticky formula, but it is a little bit on the thicker side, which I think some reviewers on the site confused with being sticky. There were a few comments saying that these feel sticky. To me, a sticky gloss is when your lips actually like stick together. When you press them together, they have that tacky feel. These don't have that at all, but they are a thicker gloss. You can feel it on your lips. It's not something that just kind of sinks in like a lip oil and disappears. You are going to feel it, but they have a cushiony kind of liquid lip balm sort of feel versus something that's tacky or sticky. I have the shades Wild, which is a clear with a blue-violet duochrome pearl. It is absolutely gorgeous on its own, or if you use it as a topper for another lip product, it's equally as stunning. And then I have Confident, which is described as a pinky nude on the site, but I feel like it's more of a peachy nude shade. And I love how these make my lips look smoother and just plump out the fine lines a little bit, which I really love. They don't have any plumping ingredients. There's no tingle to them. And like most glosses, they're not super long lasting lasting either. They're gonna transfer and wear off over time, requiring you to reapply them throughout the day. They seem to have the slightest hint of a fruity fragrance, but again, I really have to put my nose right up to it to even smell it. And it's kind of almost like a lemony or orange kind of a scent, like it's citrusy, which is really nice. I actually don't mind it at all. So I actually really enjoy these. They're not the most pigmented glosses. They're a little bit more like a sheer glaze, but they just give your lips that beautiful shine and that really super comfortable cushiony feel that I love. So I think for $8 during the sale, these are definitely worth trying. And then I also wanted to mention these matte lip balms. I talked about these in a video, I think it was last month, as a dupe for the NARS soft matte lip balms. They are almost identical to each other, but the Sephora ones will run you $10, and during the sale, they're gonna be only $7. So these are basically a tinted lip balm, but they're not glossy like some tinted lip balms are. They don't have that really melty feel or any kind of shine on your lips. And they have this very soft, diffused look on your lips that kind of reminds me of putting on a lipstick and then blotting it with a tissue just to take away any shine from the lipstick. So what's left behind is that tint. And these two shades that I have give your lips that very your lips but better type of a vibe where you almost can't tell that you're wearing a lip product because it's not overly shiny or matte, so it just really looks like your natural lips. And I really love that about these. And I think the two shades that I have compare really well to the two shades of the NARS that I have. But I also find that the Sephora ones have a better color range in general. The NARS ones all run kind of in the brown and nude family, whereas the Sephora ones come in a few brighter pops of color. So I definitely want to try some more during the sale because I find myself just keeping these in my purse, like just for a quick touch up if I'm out somewhere. It just kind of gives you that slightly polished look that don't overtly look like you're wearing lipstick, but it still gives you that sort of pulled together look. So I think these are absolutely fantastic as well. So anyway, guys, those are my 10 top picks from Sephora collection. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these down below if you've tried any of these products and what your thoughts are. And also, if you have any more recommendations from Sephora collection for the rest of us, be sure to let us know down below because there are still a ton of things that I haven't personally tried. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And also, if you have some extra time and you'd like to check out some more of my videos, I'll go ahead and just put a playlist right here so you can check those out next. And again, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.